Welcome to part 2 of Free Blacks in the Mid-Atlantic. Today we're talking about Philly. If you ride dirt bikes in the street or you just bumping that new Meek Mill, this for y'all. Richard Allen and Absalom Jones were upset at the Methodist Church because the black people had to sit in the back or they were degraded in different ways. They went off and they founded the Free African Society in 1787. They would put a shilling into each month and they would get different services like helping widows, helping orphans, health care, help with rent, etc. This it made the black dollar circulate, and this became the foundation for black banking in America. On the other hand, it also became the foundation for black churches in America, at least in the North. The Free African Society was not just a benevolent organization, but it was regulatory. So they didn't want you to commit adultery, they didn't want you to get drunk, you had to pay your monthly fee, and they regulated marriages. Marriage was really important to the Free African Society because its connection to race progress and assimilation. Slave life meant that, when you had your vows, when people, fell in love and got married, you would have your vows, and a lot of times instead of saying till death do us part, you would say till the master do us part. Because the nature of the slave trade is that you could lose your spouse at any moment. So sometimes you had multiple relations or you would have multiple spouses over the time of your life. So to be in the North and to be a free black person and say, I'm going to regulate marriage to one spouse, that was something that was really signifying that, hey, we're just like every other American here and we're fighting for our citizenship. And so this regulatory behavior was brought into the black churches. And so Absalom Jones, he went on to found the African Episcopal Church of St. Thomas, and that was really an Anglican church. Richard Allen, he founded something that's more well known, the African Methodist Episcopal Church, the A.M.E. Church. By 1816, he goes around to free black communities in Maryland, in New Jersey, in Delaware, across Pennsylvania, and he brings them all together and he founds an independent denomination. So it's not just the independent church in Philly, it's a completely independent denomination from the Methodist Church. And so what I want you to get is that this is happening across free states and slave states. The proximity between free and slave is very narrow. It doesn't matter if you're in Maryland and a slave state and you in Pennsylvania and a supposedly free state. This is a slave society. You have to maneuver around all of that. However, as the A.M.E. denominations, they got older and developed more customs and traditions, and they held on to the idea that assimilation, even though independent, assimilation is key to gaining citizenship. So when they go down into deeper areas like South Carolina, they find an Africanized Christianity across the South. In South Carolina, they're doing things like the ring shout. And so they kind of take a step back and they're like, that's not what we're really into. And a lot of times they condemn any type of Africanized version of Christianity. So even though the proximity between free and slave become very close or are very close, the diversity in the black religious experience is profound.